He said yesterday that it was the best camp that he ever had. What made that so?
He you don't have to cut that weight, man. That's the next to tying somebody up in a closet. That's the next thing in human cruelty, man. Depriving a person that's gonna work out to deprive them of unnecessary calories. So not quite naturally that makes him happy.
How important was Luis Garcia work with the camp for this fight?
I'm sorry?
How important was Luis Garcia's work for this fight?
Luis did a good job. He did a good job for what we had him there for. He did a great job.
Virgil, some people have described this as potentially a make or break fight for Amir Khan. Do you see it that way?
No. No, not at all. This fight is not going to affect the rest of his career because he's not supposed to win. Show me one article where they say he's going to win. Show me one article where they said that he's the favorite. Show me the odds. He's not supposed to win. So no, he has nothing to lose.
What about his heart? I always think of Amir Khan in that 2010 fight against Maidon. Is it underrated? I mean, the fact that he's been knocked down so many times, people want to kind of focus on that.
No, he's got a ton of heart.
What's the examples that you've seen in camp or you've seen in the course of the fights that has really underlined that to you?
I saw that long before I knew it. He had heart. You know, sometimes your heart can mislead you, but he got it. He never lost it. He still has it. He's probably one of the only few kids I've seen that's been through what he's been through and still go back in there and get down with you. You see, so he's immune to that type of stuff. He's got that ticker. He's got that pump in him. And that's real. He's fearless. He's absolutely fearless.
Virgil, have you guys talked about what happens if he gets hurt in the fight? Because I know you have specific instructions for your fighters when something like that happens to get knocked down. Have you guys gone over that and how he should respond so he doesn't get up too fast or do something he's not supposed to?
Of course. Yeah, it's programmed what to do in certain situations if they occur, what to do. You know, the first thing he has to do is find me. And he finds me and will communicate. If he doesn't seem to be able to communicate, then there's another plan. So we'll see.
If you win, will you have an Amir Khan weight?
I'm sorry?
If you win, will you have an Amir Khan weight?
Weight?
Yes, like 156.
Hard to say. Hard to say. Real hard to say. It'll be interesting though to see what happens. Everything changes, you know, in the middleweight division if he does. It'll be interesting.
Jose Sulaiman told us that even if Khan won, he needs to fight with Golovkin. It's a mandatory fight. So
who said that?
Jose Sulaiman.
Okay.
Are you willing to get loose of the belt if they mandatory fight with Golovkin if you won?
Yeah.
You also are mandatory for Garcia.
Yes.
The world's your oyster.
There you go. Yeah, if he wins, we'll fight Golovkin.
So you talk to this guy all the time. What went into the decision to move up to middleweight? There has to be a lot of thinking.
You know what? And nobody can really dispute what Amir going up to middleweight because he's been looking for a big fight, right? I mean, there are some guys who've been fighting so long, it's hard to get up for a fight sometimes, you know? So he's looking for a challenge, you know? And that's him saying, I wonder how good I really am, you know? And all great athletes do that. That's why you see LeBron in high school, he's not going to go in the summertime and play in the high school gym. He's going to go to Chicago and play with the pros. He want to know how good he is. So that's what he's doing. He's challenging himself. He wants to know when to really put myself in a dangerous situation with very few people even sitting around this table. I want to see how good I am. I'm willing to put myself in a very dangerous situation to find out.
It's rare in the sport.
I'm sorry?
It's kind of rare in the sport, isn't it? I mean, there's times where people...
Yeah, it's rare. It's very rare in the sport. Very rare in the sport. But I think all fighters should do that. I think all of them should challenge themselves. I encourage them to do it.
Is it a shame that he has
has to do it though, because obviously he wanted to fight Pacquiao, he wanted to fight with Mayweather, they wouldn't fight. Is it a shame that he has to take this sort of a risk at this stage of his career?
If he fought Pacquiao Mayweather, he'd be taking the same risk, losing. No matter how you lose, the same risk. He could get hurt in those fights. So I don't see any difference.
Virgil, do you see it more as a move to junior middleweight as opposed to middleweight? Because they're really not fighting at 160. Canelo's not really a middleweight. Do you kind of more see it just one move up as opposed to two?
Canelo is a middleweight. And I don't care what nobody says. He's a middleweight, okay? Now, I'll just leave it right at that. You guys determine. When you guys start telling it like it is, it'll be like it is. Until then, I don't even want to talk about that because it's really sad, So I'm not even interested in discussing it. The man got the belt, don't he? He's a middleweight. When they Saturday night say for the middleweight championship of the world, aren't they gonna say that? He's a fucking middleweight. Excuse my language, kids. I want my kids to hear that at the gym. But you know how I can get now.
Just keeping it real, Virgil.
Yeah. So when you hear him say to other opponents, to Golovkin, I'm not a middleweight yet, fight me at 155, with you just saying that right now, what do you think of that?
That works both ways too. So Golovkin shouldn't cry about wanting him to go to 155 because it works both ways. He's made some statements that he hasn't backed up. He's made some statements that they haven't honored. So it goes both ways.
What do you think about Golovkin doesn't want to fight Andrew Gordon?
I don't even think about it. I don't even care. We'll take the victory on the plate, okay? You want to give it to us on the plate, we'll take it. Sun Tzu says the best general is the one to get the other army to concede without a shot being fired. So not one punch was thrown, and so they conceded. That's simple as that.
How does that statement goes both ways? The 155. Golovkin did make the statement that he would go up to 168 to fight Ward at the time, a few years back.
You know how it works. You guys can't lead me on that. I'm not going to go for that, but you know how it works. You print it, but you're not going to lead me on. Okay? You know what I'm talking about. But you put it in your words, don't put it in mine. Okay? You know what I'm talking about. So why should I feed these questions when you're not going to ask the questions yourself and demand the questions? I watched 5 years media pushing Pacquiao on Mayweather. 5 years. But right here, all of a sudden, they stopped. So you gotta answer that one. And I'm not being disrespectful.
No, I know, I understand. It's perfect.
So there are double standards in the way fighters are treated here, Virgil.
Are there double standards?
Yeah, the way fighters are treated. Especially by the media. And
if you do your boxing history, you'll get the boxing answers to about all of that. If you do your boxing, if you know your boxing history, if you go back from the very beginning of few delivery gloves on in the United States, you'll know all about that.
You checked all the cards?
You'll know more than what I can tell you. I can tell you something just in a second or two, but if you take the time and go back, you'll know the history of it. So then you can not only ask the question, you'll have some answers and solutions.
Speaking of history, I believe Andre Ward, Sergey Kovalev split divides the racial line. I wasn't around when Max Melly fought Joe Louis, but I write for Black Press. It is very important that Andre Ward, not in addition to wins, but acknowledges the racial divide and the racial tension that's current today in boxing. I know he shied away for it after he beat up Guerrero, but I couldn't say it enough that I'm rooting for Andre Ward as best I can because of Sergey Kovalev's past. And I just think, can you add more to that if you can, or you want to? I know your position, but can you add more?
Well, first of all, Andre is very astute and shrewd when it comes to the boxing business. And he was raised around people, me, that gave him two perspectives of it all. And one of the perspectives is, quite obvious, but I think when he doesn't answer, it's because he doesn't have anything personal against Kovalev. Just like Joe Louis didn't have nothing personal against Smelly. You see, it was other people who instigated that. So he's shrewd enough to know that if I'm going to speak in an arena that's got racial overtones, then I have to make sure that when I speak that it's just not for that moment, but it's going to have an impact that carries over from this point on in the future and make a difference. If it's not going to make a difference, then why should I speak? For an example, he gave a round table here on all this issues that went back with Goosen and everything else. But nobody printed, nobody wrote about it, so he understands what's going on. You're here to ask him some questions. After that, nobody challenges it because he understands who is free to report what they want to report and write what they want to write, and he understands who's got a muzzle on, and he understands who gets paid to say it. He understands all that, so he's not going to feed into that. You understand? But I'm sure if you talk to him one-on-one, you see what I'm saying? He might tell you a few things if he could be confident that there will be between you and him, and that you came to make a difference. Not just asking the question, but asking the questions in order to make a difference.
I said in front of 20 mics, so
I'm sure he would
says a lot.
sit down and talk to you.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Virgil.
I hope I gave you what you wanted.